Welcome back to Nutrapreneur, where we dive deep into the innovations driving the future of the nutraceutical industry. I'm your host, Bethany, and today we have the privilege of speaking with Filipa, the visionary co-founder of Chris and Philly Functional Medicine. This celebrated practice is on the forefront of combating body burnout among high-achieving parents, offering holistic solutions that have garnered national recognition. From winning the Telstra Best of Business Awards to being featured in Forbes, Filipa's impact on wellness is profound and personal, stemming from her own journey through mummy burnout. It's so great to have you today, Filipa. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
So, first, I think it would be great for you to just share with us your personal journey that led you to co-founding Chris and Philly Functional Medicine and, specifically focus on ending body burnout.
Yeah, I feel like my personal story probably goes right back to a kid, um, where I was a shy, I would say anxious now, not that it was given the label back then. I think I hid it pretty well. But thinking back, I used to get really nervous. And so there were sort of signs of anxiousness or nervous system dysregulation as a child. That got worse in high school when all of a sudden, I didn't ever try hard to get good grades, but I think it was maybe like year 9 or 10, I started getting A's and won the Ducks at the high school end of year thing. And it felt kind of good. And I'm like, oh, okay, so maybe I am good at something. And so it actually developed patterns of overdoing, high achieving, and perfectionism because I was putting my worth based on the results that I could get from a scholarly point of view. But during that time, so I ended up putting up a lot of pressure on myself to do awesome and be the best and, get straight A's. And if it's an A minus, it was the worst thing ever. I wasn't ever pressured from my parents to do that. It was all just coming from my own um, self lack of self-confidence and deeper unconscious core beliefs that I wasn't good enough unless I got straight A's. And so anyway, I started having female hormone issues as a teenager, ended up with PCOS, but also a really dysregulated nervous system where I fainted, fitted and peed myself multiple times when my system was too overloaded, basically. And I remember my mum at the time took me around to all the specialists and they had ECGs and brain scans. And in the end, it was just labeled as vasovagal episodes, where basically your body can't control blood pressure very well. So then you faint. And I had fitting and peeing myself often, which was really embarrassing as a teenager. Um, so then all that was happening. And then I ended up going to uni and then I did a PhD. Again, it was not necessarily because I wanted to do it. It was more because I felt like that was a thing that I was good at. And
Right.
so there was a lot of pressure to perform. And when I finished my PhD, I had my first baby. And that's where things kind of like started falling apart from a physical health point of view. Yes, I had like symptoms showing up earlier, but after my first baby, it was quite a traumatic birth. And I couldn't use my bladder for about 3 months. I had no sensation to wee. So I needed an internal catheter for 3 months. And during that time, I got a lot of UTIs, was on lots of antibiotics, had a baby that was screaming all the time. And so add on this extra physical trauma to my body, I just started developing a whole heap of weird health issues that kind of went unnoticed from a GP or medical point of view. They did the usual blood test. They're like, everything is fine. It's just what it's like to be a new mom. And I'm looking around at my friends and sisters and I'm like, no one else is struggling in terms of they can't get out of bed for multiple days because of chronic pain in my body and they're okay mentally. Why am I having panic attacks? And so that led me on my own, I guess, self-healing journey. I started changing my diet first, so really got into eating whole foods and nutrition and fermenting foods and sprouting foods and eating animal organs and all that sort of stuff. And over time my body started healing, and then I had my second baby. And this time I'm like, things are going to be so much better this time. I'm so healthy now. I eat really well, but all the same symptoms showed up again. And I realized that just eating healthy food wasn't enough. Like it wasn't getting to the root cause. That's when I found functional medicine, where I'm like, oh, now I can do lab testing and I can see that there's parasites and H. pylori and adrenal fatigue. And so I started supporting those naturally with supplements, nutraceuticals, which again was amazing. And it really healed my body. And I was pretty much symptom free for a few years until COVID happened and I had my third body burnout experience.
Yes.
And which a lot of people found COVID really stressful. Everyone has their own COVID story, but my body again just flared up with all sorts of symptoms, insomnia, histamine intolerance, and this time no physical support helped. And so that's where I was just like, I still haven't got to the root. What's going on? Like, yes, nutrition, healthy living, toxin free, using lab-based nutraceutical supplements is needed to help support my body systems, but why is this not working anymore for me? And so that's where I dug even deeper and looked deeper into the nervous system and the unconscious mind that was basically an internal tiger in my system. So it was really hard to heal my body when I had deeper baggage below the surface that also needed healing. And
Right.
that's when we created our ending body burnout method, which looks at healing the body from a holistic point of view. So it's not just physical, but it's also not just metaphysical. It's actually doing both in combination to get real results that also last long term.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. And you've, with over 2,000 clients helped in the last decade, what unique approaches does your practice employ to diagnose and address the root causes of burnout?
Yeah, so we always start, first of all, at a body systems level, because that's kind of the easy part. So in functional medicine, we test, not guess. So I used to practice where people would come with a bunch of symptoms and take an educated guess that, oh, maybe you have adrenal issues, or maybe there's leaky gut. Try this, try that. Didn't always work. So I find lab testing amazing because then we can actually look at the microbiome, detoxification pathways, neurotransmitters, and then create a really specific lab-based, individualized supplement protocol and dietary requirements for that person. So that's kind of like the physical layers of how we start working with people. But generally, while we're waiting to get lab test results back, we take people through our process called Spark, which is the metaphysical side of things when it comes to healing. So just in the same way that the body systems can break down. So they're like, sometimes it feels complicated when you're experiencing burnout symptoms, chronic health issues. It's like, I've tried so many things and nothing's working. But there are only so many ways the body systems can burn out. And then there's also only so many ways that the unconscious mind can burn out or become imbalanced as well. And so something that's really unique that we do in our practice that actually I don't think anyone else, I haven't seen anyone else do this in the world, is really looking deep into the beliefs that drive thoughts, feelings, behaviors, habits, a lifestyle, and then it eventually shows up in the body. And so so we're taking people through that process for them to actually identify their deepest root. And it's generally at an identity, unconscious core belief level. And when you can address that, healing like fast tracks anything that you do from a physical point of view, the body's now able to heal. And the results also stick. And we work with a lot of people who are running like those burnout type patterns. So doing all the things, perfectionism, people pleasing, burning the candle at both ends. You could eat the best diet, but if you're still living out those patterns, the symptoms are going to come back at some point. And that's why the symptoms showed up again during COVID time, because I still hadn't addressed the deeper programming inside my system.
Absolutely. I mean, it definitely sounds like a very unique approach, something I've never heard of before. And I'm sure a lot of individuals are dealing with burnout and they they might not even realize it because, like you said, they might have gone to a lot of medical professionals and done some tests and showing everything's fine, but they really probably need to dig deeper to find out what's really going on.
Yeah.
And, considering the holistic nature of your services, how do you integrate dietary advice, nutrition consultation, and lifestyle changes into a personalized action plan for each of your clients?
Mm. So our signature program is the Ending Body Burnout Method. And I guess we have like levels of support there. So there's private one-on-one for people who want that really specific, individualized one-on-one feedback straight away. But we've also got a semi-private option that has some one-on-one support, but we're also doing group support online process. But when we created our program, like there's a lot of, I guess, programs out there that are kind of like quite cookie cutter in terms of come and join our group program, which we are thinking of offering at some point, but we want to make sure that if we do, it's still highly personalized, because everybody is different. So that's where I find like the lab testing is really helpful, because not everyone will go on the same diet, for example. Like we use so many different ways of eating to help heal the body systems. Sometimes someone might need to do a low histamine diet for a short period, or an anti-candida diet if there's high levels of candida overgrowing in their system. Same with like other lifestyle things like exercise. Well, if you're in later stages of adrenal fatigue, where your stress hormones are just so depleted, then I wouldn't recommend going and do boot camp or HIIT workouts, because that'll stress your system out even more. However, someone in maybe stage 1 adrenal fatigue, where it's kind of just early stages, they actually might benefit from something like that, because they need to like blow off some steam and like clear some cortisol from their body. So that's how like largely we tweak and individualize lifestyle healing recommendations for clients. The metaphysical side of stuff, it's almost the same for everyone. Like it always comes back to deeper unconscious core beliefs of not being good enough, not lovable, feeling unworthy, feeling weak or incapable, feeling like they're broken, unable to heal. I mean, there's different iterations, but when we can guide people to find that, then we help them to reprogram those beliefs specific to what is the root for them, and also like clearing trauma and diluting past events that are still emotionally charged, so that their system can return back to calm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really interesting that most people do have that in common. And I mean, we're seeing that more often, that people are admitting they don't have self-confidence and they don't feel like they're good enough. And that can lead to a lot of stress and anxiety, like you said.
Yeah, well, it does. We have a saying too around those deeper self-limiting beliefs, that every behavior has a belief underneath, including the way that your body behaves. So if you are sick, if you do have burnout symptoms or any other health symptoms, there's a dysfunctional belief underneath that. If you're struggling to eat healthy, if you're struggling to move your body, if you keep sabotaging your best intentions that I'm going to have better work-life balance, but keep prioritizing work, then that's a behavior, and there's a dysfunctional belief under that. So if you kind of look at the world, everyone has them. Because no one. And the crazy thing is that only 5% of the population actually look at the deeper root. So most people are dying with dysfunctional beliefs they created as a kid.
Yeah.
Dying as children, which is really sad.
This episode is brought to you by NutraPayments.com. If your business needs credit card processing that fully integrates with most major Nutra software platforms, offers the lowest industry prices, and has built-in features like recurring billing, $0 trials, and chargeback prevention, then visit us at NutraPayments.com for a free online quote. on a more positive note, to talk about just some of your achievements and recognition. Winning the Telstra Best of Business Awards and being a finalist in the Australian Women's Small Business Champion Awards is no small feat. So, how have these accolades impacted your practice and the way you approach wellness?
Yeah. The Telstra, like people in America, listeners in America are probably like, what even are these awards? In Australia, the Telstra Best of Business Awards is probably the most highly regarded business award out of all the other awards. And I remember when I really just submitted an application for fun. I'm like, nothing will come from this, but look, this will be good practice and maybe I'll get some feedback so that in years to come, when we are, I don't know, our practice is better, then we may win. So that was really cool because at that time, so I'd been practicing functional medicine quite many years, but during COVID, so it would have been 2021 when we started doing that awards process for Telstra. Um, like our new holistic way of practicing was quite new. So we really just rebranded and kind of pivoted to move towards actually healing the whole self kind of around the same time. And that was really, the awards were really good because it's like, oh, wow, okay, our idea actually has some merit to it because we've been recognized in this award. And it then helped to, I guess, build authority and reliability for clients or prospects to then say, oh, okay, so what they're doing might actually work for me. Because when we started changing the way that we practiced, it was really different. Like old clientele and old followers, prospects really just wanted and were expecting a lab test and some supplements and maybe like a diet and, just tell me what to do. But it doesn't work because if you've got deeper patterns stuck in your unconscious where it's actually unsafe to be well for whatever reason, like that's why people get stuck in sickness because it's unsafe to be well, then they're going to continue self-sabotaging either through behavioral patterns or their body will just be like, nah, I can see that you're doing all the lovely healthy things, but I'm not healing because you're not listening to why I sent the pain in the first place. Sorry, that was like a long-winded answer,
No.
but it was kind of the early beginnings of when, like now what we are really known for and what we love to doing, and it's the only way that I practice with clients ongoing is when they're addressing the deep root cause. Those awards were great to give some proof of concept.
Yes, no, I mean, you have to operate that way to be successful with what you believe in and what you're trying to achieve. And your advice and insights have even been featured in prestigious media outlets like Forbes and Body and Soul. So, how does this visibility influence your mission and the people that you aim to help?
Yeah, I think it's the same thing as well. It's so funny because the things that get published in those places, they're also on our blog. But there's something kind of like special about,
Yes.
ooh, it's now in Forbes or Body and Soul. So media is great. It's great to help increase visibility. They push it out to so many people that we would never be able to kind of get access to unless we're spending maybe like millions of dollars on Facebook ads a week. So yeah, and again, I think too, when my work started getting picked up in places like that, it was confidence building as well. It's like, okay, cool. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
So I believe what we do, but now other people are seeing the value in that. Okay, cool, great. This is again an idea, a concept that is working.
Yeah, absolutely. And you work with a diverse range of clients. And so could you share with us a success story that stands out to you and really highlights the transformative impact of your approach?
Oh, there's so many, so many. I love I love the success story. I love all our success stories, and we have our own podcast, and we actually have some gorgeous clients who have generously shared their story. So I might not share theirs. If anyone wants to listen to those stories, they're on our podcast. I love stories where there's clients. I've had some clients where they'll either like email if they're virtual, or sometimes we have some local clients, and it's like a stack of paperwork of all the tests that they've done, of all the practitioners and doctors that they've seen, of all the treatments that they've tried. And they kind of come to us almost as this is my last chance. If this doesn't work, I think I'm just going to have to like live with this.
Yeah.
And so we do get a lot of people who have tried a lot of things. And it's really cool that sometimes there's some missing physical stuff where it's just like, oh, cool, you have tested for this, and this body system or organ. They look okay, or, maybe that treatment didn't work, but oh gosh, you've missed the neurotransmitters, are often something that's quite missed. So like looking at serotonin, dopamine, adrenaline, and that can make the world of difference if someone is struggling with anxiety or depression or exhaustion or brain fog. Um, and then so I'm thinking of our client specifically, and chronic fatigue, a lot of immune system issues, anxiety. She was very depleted. She tried all the things. Nothing had helped. And then I think it was as little as 8 weeks in our program. So it was probably more the metaphysical stuff for her, as she really named her deepest root cause belief and started reprogramming that and started shifting baggage from the unconscious state. Symptoms like literally disappeared so quickly. And she had been on a 20-year journey trying all the things. And so it's not that anything that she had tried hadn't worked. It's just that her body wasn't in the position to be able to heal. So then we were able to circle back, and it's like, okay, now we can start supporting the adrenals, like from a therapeutic nutraceutical point of view. And now we can start like getting rid of that H. pylori, because your immune system's actually going to allow us to be able to do that now. Yeah.
No, that's amazing. No, great to hear, especially, I mean, a 20-year journey it's wild. And luckily she found you. So I'm sure she's
Mm.
happy as well.
It
Uh,
was almost by
yes.
divine intervention. Like she was randomly listening to a podcast that she never listens to, and I was interviewed on that podcast. And something inside of her was just like, I don't know why, but I need to reach out to these people. Okay, let's do it. And then it was perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure
A
there's
perfect fit.
so many people out there that are like that, and they just have given up, you know? I
Mm.
mean, for 20 years, it'd be hard not to just give up, but I'm thankful that she went to you. That's great. Uh,
Yeah.
and this industry, it's constantly evolving with technology. So how has Chris and Philly functional medicine stayed at the cutting edge, particularly in areas like dietary advice and supplements and lifestyle interventions?
Mm. So yeah, that's where I come back to the functional lab testing is just so helpful. And that is constantly evolving too. I actually interviewed for our podcast the head of one of the lab testing companies in Australia. And she was talking about even stool testing, they're now using or starting to use a new technology called, what was it called? Rapid fire PCR detection, which at the moment, like on a stool test, you can only, from a beneficial bacteria point of view, I think there's maybe like 10 different strains we can kind of get access to information about. But with the new technology now, we can look at everything, which is like millions,
Yeah.
millions of different strains. And so, and then from there, they're like, it's almost like we can look at the poo and look at genetic dispositions for someone who may be at risk of developing things like heart disease, cancer, diabetes. I mean, that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, that's
That's
incredible.
amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And then, and so the lab testing too. So it helps to really just fine tune and individualize what that person needs to heal, then to also have optimal health. but it's also great just for compliance, because then people can actually see inside their body and they're like, okay, yeah, there's some serious things going on here. I'm going to take this whole healing thing seriously now. Whereas sometimes without that lack of evidence, people can be a little bit wish-washy and hodgepodge with what they're doing. So I find that really just holds people in the space of healing. And then from a neuroscience point of view as well, like what we're finding out about brain plasticity and how we can literally switch off physical symptoms using our brain, which is what we do in our program as well, is phenomenal. And I feel like every healthcare provider needs to know this and needs to also practice this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or at least have someone they have in their community of people they can refer their clients to.
Yes, yes, I agree. And you've mentioned you have a podcast and you also have some other resources like books and courses alongside your practice. So, how do these tools complement your direct services and help spread awareness about preventing burnout?
Yeah, so I published my new book last year, Ending Body Burnout, which is basically the method that we take our clients through in our signature program. And it is only $30, so like, because I really wanted, I mean, we're kind of at a point with our practice where we don't actually have a lot of space for new clients. There's a wait list. And there's also people who desperately need to know how to heal their bodies, but they might not have the finances. So I wrote that book as like really like a DIY tool that if you followed everything in this book, I mean, yes, for the lab testing side of things, you might need to have some support there. But even then, if you just implemented sleep, movement, and nutrition in a way that's going to help heal the body, have like a healthy environment so that you can heal. And then the mind work, like the brain, nervous system, unconscious work, that is simple stuff, but people just don't do it.
Right.
But if you do it, yeah, most people will probably get the benefits without actually needing to do lab testing. So there's the book. We also have a podcast, which is a free resource, and we drop episodes on that every week. And that's really looking at our holistic approach to healing. And we do have some courses, although they're not easily accessible. We often use them more as like bonus courses to different free events and things that we have on offer. Yeah, but if you're on our email list, we're doing a lot of free webinars and live events pretty regularly.
I know it's great that you provide the educational resources. And looking ahead, do you have any new projects or innovations that you're excited about introducing into your practice?
I think the next, there's quite a few things actually. There always is, isn't there, when you're an entrepreneur?
Yes.
It's like, which one do I choose next? Look, to create more accessibility for people, we are nutting out a group option for our ending body burnout method, which will be a lot more affordable, but also still able to get individualized support. Like I'll still be creating individual programs and stuff for people inside that program. So that's kind of like our big one that we're working on. And then, yeah, you mentioned courses. So we're working on some short courses that can either complement the book or, or to provide more awareness, but each of the course will have some sort of a transformational promise. So you do get a result out of it. And look, this is probably more so in the future, but we are so keen at some point to create a functional medicine, holistic healing school for practitioners in Australia, because there is nothing here for Australian practitioners at all that does this.
No, I mean, it's
that's going to be a big project. So that's why I'm like, that might be like a few years.
Very far in the future, but still, I mean, start preparing for it now. No, very, very exciting. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining us today. This conversation has offered invaluable insights into the heart of holistic wellness and the fight against body burnout. We're inspired by your dedication and innovation that you bring to the wellness industry. For those listening that are interested in learning more about Chris and Philly functional medicine or accessing their resources, we'll include links in the episode description. Remember to subscribe and share your thoughts with us on social media. Join us next time on Nutrapreneur as we continue to explore the dynamic world of nutraceuticals and wellness. Stay informed, stay inspired, and here's to your health.